It's high 15 outside, the kind of cold that freezes the air the moment you step outdoors. The furnace hasn't turned on in nearly 2 hours, yet the room isn't freezing the way you'd expect. Instead, the space feels warm. Not perfectly comfortable, not like a house heated by a powerful furnace, but genuinely warm enough to notice. The surprising part is that the heat filling this room isn't coming from electricity, gas, or any expensive heating system. It's coming from a simple wooden box mounted on the south-facing wall. Inside that box are dozens of aluminum cans painted completely black. There's no electricity running through it, no fuel burning, and no complicated moving parts hidden inside. The only thing powering this entire setup is sunlight. The same sunlight that hits your house every day is being captured, transformed into heat, and pushed into the room naturally. And the most unbelievable part is the cost. This entire system was built for only $8. This idea isn't some brand new invention or secret technology. People in off-grid and DIY communities have been building these solar heaters for more than 40 years. Since the 1980s, homeowners across Canada and the northern United States have been attaching these collectors to sheds, garages, cabins, and houses that face the sun. Despite how effective they are, they never became mainstream. The reason is simple. Sunlight is free and no large industry profits from it. The heating and cooling industry generates about $240 billion every year, selling equipment, systems, and fuel to control indoor temperatures. A simple box made from recycled cans that can produce meaningful heat for only $8 doesn't guarantee create profit for that system, so it's never widely promoted. The concept behind it is incredibly simple and something you've already experienced many times. Think about a car sitting outside on a sunny winter day. Even if the air outside is freezing, the inside of the car becomes warm when sunlight enters through the windows. The same thing happens in greenhouses, which stay warm even during cold months without any heaters. Dark surfaces absorb sunlight and convert it into heat. That is why black metal sitting in the sun can become hot enough to burn your hand even when the air temperature is barely above freezing. This solar heater uses that exact principle. Instead of letting the heat escape back into the air, it captures it and moves it into your home. The system works using natural airflow. Cold air from the room enters the bottom of the collector. Inside the box are vertical columns made from aluminum cans that have been painted black. As sunlight hits the box, those cans absorb the solar radiation and become hot. When the cooler air from the room passes through the heated columns of cans, it warms up. As the air heats, it rises naturally and exits through an opening at the top of the collector. That warm air flows back into the room, raising the temperature. Meanwhile, cooler air from the room drops toward the floor and gets pulled back into the bottom of the collector, repeating the cycle continuously. No fan, no electricity, no pump. Just natural convection, the same physical process that makes heat rise above a campfire. When researchers and engineering students tested this design, the results were surprising. The solar collector measuring just 3 by 6 feet was recorded producing 2,246 BTU of heat per hour on a sunny day. For comparison, it typically takes around 5,000 BTU to heat a room that's about 125 square feet. That means one simple collector can provide nearly half the heat needed for that space using nothing but sunlight. And the materials required to build it are incredibly basic. To build a collector about 3 by 4 feet, you need roughly 100 to 140 aluminum cans. These are easy to collect from neighbors, restaurants, or recycling bins because they're normally thrown away. Next, you build a shallow wooden frame using 1.6 lumber, around 5 to 6 inches deep. Scrap wood works perfectly fine for this. The cans are cleaned, dried, and then cut so that the tops and bottoms are removed, turning them into open cylinders. These cans are stacked vertically and glued together, using silicone or construction adhesive to form tall columns that match the height of the frame. Once the adhesive dries, the entire interior of the collector is sprayed with flat matte black paint. Flat paint is important because glossy paint reflects sunlight while matte paint absorbs it. 2 thin coats are enough to cover the cans and the inside surfaces of the box. After painting, the columns of cans are mounted inside the wooden frame, side by side so air can pass through them. 2 openings are cut into the frame. One opening at the bottom allows cold air to enter the collector, and another opening at the top allows the heated air to exit back into the room. The front of the collector is then covered with a clear sheet of polycarbonate or plexiglass. This transparent layer allows sunlight to enter while trapping the heat inside the box, creating a greenhouse effect. Every edge is sealed using weather stripping or silicone to prevent heat from escaping. Once the collector is assembled, it S-mounted on a south-facing wall where it can receive the most sunlight during the winter months. The bottom opening connects to a lower hole in the wall so cooler room air can enter the collector. The top opening connects to a higher hole where the warmed air flows back inside. When the sun shines on the collector, warm air begins circulating naturally into the room. Place your hand over the upper opening on a sunny day, and you can actually feel the free heat flowing out. There's also a simple upgrade that can dramatically improve performance without adding much cost. A small DC computer fan can be installed inside the system. These are the same fans found in desktop computers and can often be salvaged or purchased cheaply. The fan is powered by a small solar panel wired directly to it. There's no battery and no controller. When sunlight hits the panel, the fan spins automatically and pushes more air through the collector. When the sun disappears, the fan stops. This increased airflow moves more warm air into the room and keeps the collector from overheating, which actually improves efficiency. A collector running at moderate temperature with high airflow delivers more usable heat than one that becomes extremely hot but moves little air. A tiny 4-watt solar panel costing around $3 to $5 is enough to power the fan, and it can sit right on top of the collector frame. One common mistake when building these heaters is failing to seal the box properly. Any gap allows warm air to escape, reducing the amount of heat delivered into the room. Every seam should be sealed with silicone and every edge tightly weather-stripped. Proper sealing determines how much of the captured heat actually reaches your living space. Another small detail matters in very cold climates. When the sun sets and outside temperatures drop significantly, airflow can reverse and allow cold air to move back into the room through the collector. The solution is simple. Install a lightweight plastic flap over the interior openings. The flap opens when warm air flows outward but closes automatically if air tries to flow back inward. Large versions of these collectors have been tested in real environments with impressive results. One engineer built a full-scale system for his workshop in Montana and carefully measured the performance during winter conditions. His collector regularly produced a temperature rise of 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit between the intake and outlet. At peak performance, the system generated around 25,000 BTU per hour and collected roughly 130,000 BTU of heat during a clear winter day. That's roughly equivalent to burning about 2 gallons of propane, except the heat was completely free. The most interesting part about this entire system is how obvious it feels once you understand it. Every clear winter day, sunlight hits the south side of your house. That energy warms the surface of the wall and then disappears back into the air unused. By mounting a simple collector in that space, you capture heat that was already being generated and redirected into your home. For only $8 and a few hours of work, a system like this can begin producing heat the very next sunny day. No complicated technology, no expensive equipment, just recycled materials, sunlight, and basic physics working together to turn waste into warmth.